Bim, 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 bam. Yada da 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 bim. Bam, bim, 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 bam. Bim, 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 bam. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Bim, bam, bim, 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 bam. Bim, 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 bam. Yada da 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 da. Bim, bam, bim, 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 bam. Bim, 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 bam.
Good job, everyone. For those who are watching online, of course, for our Kaya service, for our casual service tonight, you should know we have a full house and we miss you. For those who are here in the sanctuary, you should know online we have, I don't know, like 75 people watching, and they miss you too. Anyway, if you're online, if you're in person, greet one another, wish each other a Shabbat Shalom. As we say hello to Matthew Steyer, our soloist tonight, our cantorial soloist, who's filling in while Cantor's away. Always beautiful to have Matthew singing and leading us in our prayers as well. So greet one another as we sing and begin our services together.
Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you were born and reborn and reborn. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul.
This week we begin reading a new book of the Torah, the book of Devarim, the last book of the Torah of Deuteronomy. The year literally winds down. It sort of tells us that we have 7 weeks as we prepare for the holidays. Yikes, one sec. Let me think
about that.
And of course, it is Moses being 120 years old, and Moses having to relinquish his leadership at this time, and his last speech. A last speech that goes on and on and on. An entire book of the Torah where Deuteronomy literally telling, where he goes through that this is the Torah and it's here to teach us to do, and then he goes on and gives us the laws and he explains things. And the rabbis ask, well, why did he do it this way? What was he doing? How did he do it? And they say, he began, the rabbi said, explaining Torah in 70 languages. 70 languages. I thought all the Israelites spoke Hebrew. Why 70 languages? According to the rabbis, there were 70 languages that existed in the world at that time. And that Torah is universal. It wasn't just our ancestors at that time, the Israelites, but it would be to transcend that moment in time and be for all of us. So often in time, Jews think you have to do it in Hebrew. But the rabbis 2,000 years ago were saying, no, Moses taught in 70 languages, that you hear and understand Torah in whatever language you relate to. And that might be a spoken language, or it may be a language of art, it may be a language of music, maybe a language of emotion and feeling, of meditation, the nuances that exist in how we communicate, and how God communicates with us, and how we understand. His lessons are eternal in that way. For each of us, for all 263 of us who are here today in person at services, and for the 120 who are online at services, for each of us to figure it out, I don't count very well, in our own way. I know, I have lots of. So, close your eyes for a moment if you're comfortable so doing. Breathe in deeply God's gift to each and every one of us. Breathe out your gift to this world. As you breathe in deeply and you feel your chest rise and fill with life, as you breathe out, you feel yourself melt a little bit and sink deeper into your seat and relax. This moment in time, this time of Shabbat, is that perspective we can gain in realizing that we authentically, each and every one of us, whatever language we need, use, speak, feel, can connect with tradition, can connect with holiness, can connect with that which is beyond. And so Shabbat is this moment to reframe ourselves in our week, in our lives, so that we can lift ourselves up, so we can sense the blessings that are ours, the blessings that we can feel and appreciate and sense and experience. In doing that, we make this time a moment of holiness. The mystics say that each of us is blessed with a soul, that which exudes and feels goodness in our world. But on Shabbat, God places a second soul within us, that we have that extra soul, so that we can be a little more attuned to the goodness in our lives, in our world, around us, and one another. And the souls connect with each other. No matter how intimate a Shabbat gathering might be, the souls multiply and feel that and return to this special place of holiness in our lives. Well, I was returning again. I was returning again to the soul. That was the. Sorry, yeah. I wanted to. There you go. And wait, I'll do it again. And there you go. There you go. Perfect.
Return to the land of your soul. Return again. Return again. Return to the land of your soul. Return to who you are. Return to what you are. Return to where you were born and reborn and reborn. Return again. Return again. Return to the land of your soul.
So now that we've come together as a community in that holiness, may we now find time for our prayers. Whatever language they connect with us in. We rise together for the Baruch Hu, our call to worship.
Lai la lai 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 la lai 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 Baruchu et Adonai Amevorach Baruch Adonai Amevorach leolam vaed. Amevorach, Amevorach leolam vaed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
For those who aren't regulars at our Kaya services, at these meditations, don't necessarily use a prayer book, you're always welcome to grab it and use it and follow along. That is my microphone going in and out? Am I okay? Maybe it's just self-conscious because such a large crowd tonight. And by the way, 20 people are online right now. They're winning. Just saying. Yes. Okay, so, and the idea of the prayer book is we use it as a crux at times. You know, we bury ourselves in it and just follow words there and go through the motions. And the idea of these services were, let's just let ourselves go. Let's sing and whatever it exudes, whatever we feel, that's okay, right? You know, the mystics tell us that when we meditate, whatever enters our mind in the midst of meditation, Gam Ze Kadosh. This too is holy. So, for me, it's difficult to focus. Even in meditation, you're distracted because the things of our lives, of our world, weigh on us and prey on us. And they flitter in and out. And I'm comforted by that teaching, that Gam Ze Kadosh, this too is holy. Lots of things in our minds. We can't necessarily control what happens there in our mind, what we're attempting to think about, and what does happen, what we do think about. And, you know, paying attention to that's something important because there are messages that come to us in different ways. So sometimes the prayer book is a way that helps us focus and can guide us in that. And sometimes it becomes that crux. And so I always say, if you want to open it up, wonderful. And if you don't, that's okay too. But it's there. And the prayers that we have, what's beautiful is that these are prayers that have been a part of our people, some for hundreds of years, some for thousands of years. This one, Hashkivenu, is one of the older prayers of our tradition. And it's really a response to that which is unknown. I heard a new term the other day in a podcast. You know, many of us experience FOMO, you know, fear of missing out. We have to be a part of something. We have to be the first to show up or whatever. But this was called FODU, fear of the unknown. That part of the challenge pandemic is the unknown, that we want to end, but it's not. And we don't know when it will completely be over. We don't know when we can resume that we want to do. We don't know when we can go to Canada like we want to do, or go to Israel, or travel freely, or really relax completely. And that fear causes that anxiety that, you know, sometimes clenches us up and holds us back. And I think understanding that there will always be unknown in our lives, in our world, is an important recognition for us to have. You know, the pandemic just made that so apparent to us. And we're still wrestling with it and trying to say, well, at this day will be, you know, how often were we saying that? But letting it go and saying, there always will be unknown. This prayer recognizes that. The rabbis were saying in writing this prayer, let us lie down and sleep, God. Permit us to wake up in security of knowing that we are safe and loved. Be a shield around us. Keep enemies, disease, violence, homelessness, hunger far away from those we love, because we know these things exist. But we ask for what we have today to be there tomorrow when we wake up, because tomorrow is unknown. And so how I get over that is by recognizing the blessing I have in this moment, and that whatever tomorrow brings, I'll be okay.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Lishalom V'hamidenu Malkeinu L'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Lishalom V'hamidenu Malkeinu L'chaim. Ufros aleinu Sukat shlomecha L'chaim ulshalom Me'ata ve'ad olam Me'ata ve'ad olam Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Lishalom V'hamidenu Malkeinu L'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Lishalom V'hamidenu Malkeinu L'chaim. Ushmor tzedenu Uvoenu L'chaim ulshalom Me'ata ve'ad olam Le'olam Me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Lishalom V'hamidenu Malkeinu L'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Lishalom V'hamidenu Malkeinu L'chaim.
When I do interviews for my alma mater for college with high school seniors, I always ask if they could meet someone in history, sit and have a cup of coffee or tea or a bubble tea or whatever they drink, who would they want to meet? Who would they sit with and interview and talk to? That's fascinating. Some people, their answers, or some kids who are stumped by that. I think of it all the time. People in history I love to meet who've written things that have inspired me over the years, and to know if I'm reading them correctly, if this is what they intended. I'd love to sit with Abraham or Moses, and not just to see if they existed, don't get me wrong, but because I believe they did, but to know what the intent was. What were they thinking? Like, we read things into their lives, into what they did. And, you know, as a parent, you learn these things sometimes when you ask a child, like, you know, oh, you meant to do this. What were you thinking? And they're like, I wasn't thinking, I was just doing this, right? And there are levels of tradition that have been based on actions of these ancestors. And we say a prayer that says, God of Abraham, God of Sarah, God of Isaac or Rebecca, God of Leah, God of Rachel, God of Jacob, all of these matriarchs and patriarchs who had relationships with God. And what did they understand? How did they understand God? And how do we understand God? Right? How many times did a child to me or you and say, I don't believe in God. And I say, tell me about the God you don't believe in. And then I say, well, I don't believe in Santa Claus either. I don't believe in that God as well. But there's a lot of ways our ancestors understood God. And I'd love to sit and hear if what I'm reading into their actions and understanding of God is what they did or what they felt. And then to share how I understand that as well. It's why we start the Avot Ve'imahot with these words. Son Imre Fi V'Hagyon Libi. May the words of my mouth, the meditations of my heart be acceptable as we try to explore and figure out together. Please rise together for the Avot Ve'imahot.
Adonai Sifatai Tiftach Ufi Agita Hilatecha. Eternal God, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Ve'Elohei Avotenu V'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Ve'Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor V'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'koneh hakol, V'zocher chasdei avot ve'imahot, U'mevi geula livnei v'neihem, Leman shemo be'ahava, Melech hozer u'moshia u'magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Ata gibor leolam Adonai, Mechaye hakol ata rav lehoshia, Morid hatal, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofech olim, Umatir asurim, Umkayem emunato lishenei afar. Michamocha ba'al gevurot umido melach. Melech memit umchaye umatzmiach Yeshua. V'ne'eman atal hachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kdoshim b'chol yom yahalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el hakadosh.
As we remain standing, so do we take this time in our prayers to think of those in need of healing and strength with our prayers of Mishiberach. And as in a moment we take Torah out, so to remind ourselves that Torah has been a source of strength and hope for our people for thousands of years, just as it is for us today.
מקור הברכה לאמותינו. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen.
As we think of those in our congregation who are in need of healing and strength, the Lissayoto and Barry Bell, Terry Bell, Larry Burke, Karen Kasman, Marvin Cohen, Molly Cotant, Barbara Esrig, Sandy Flair, Gracie Goldman, Joseph Goldring, Lola Goldring, Sandy Gorosh, Batia Batbesha Panina, Charles Gross, Susan Goralnik, Hank Heiser, Helen Indiana, Jane Jacobs, Ephraim Kessler, Serafina Coffrin, Art Lazar, Lazar, Henry Leopold, Barry Levine, Libby McIntyre, Zoe Marcus, Beth Margolin, Joyce Mazza, Nancy Morrow, Perry Moss, Lori Moss, Scott Miles, Kate Negrone, Rabbi Robert Nosenchuk, Reza Bat Leah Miriam, Leah Elisheva Bat Avram Bachana, Aline Porcelli, Melanie Pohl, James Rafferty, Joanne Reed, Leslie Heroic Ritchie, Alan Rosen, Morgan Ross, the St. Amman family, Micha Chuna Ben Simcha Freda, Amy Selmanoff, Danny Shepard, Barbara Storm, Andrea Switch, Naomi White, Connie Wahlberg, Helene Wolf, as well as the 53,117 American troops who have been injured in Iraq and Afghanistan and the surrounding areas to date, those injured and unaccounted for from the devastation in Surfside, Florida, as well as those that we think of in our hearts as well. Baruch atah Adonai Rapha Chalim. Blessed are you, God, who strength to those in need.
Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say
Remain standing for our prayers of adoration and conclusion.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים Malachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad.
The mystics teach us the Kaddish has different meanings every time it's recited. In their minds, it's a prayer that links earth to heaven and bridges the chasm between the living and the dead. The Kaddish is the assurance the soul is enduring, the human spirit indestructible. It's a prayer that permits a child to remember a parent and a parent to remember a child, an opportunity to bind wounds and bring generation closer to generation in light, in darkness. It's all of these and more. For it is our people's memory of the best that life has to offer. This time in our prayers, our thoughts turn to those taken from our midst in this past week and month whose Shloshim we mark. Friends and family of our congregation: Herman Chudnow, Jerry Klegman, Sharon Meisel, Ruth Bosco, Albert Kroll, Stephen Horowitz, Jordan Croden, Grace Gerardine Carafelli, Ed Egan, Charlene Meyerson Lozelle, as well as the 97 confirmed deaths from the Surfside, Florida partial building collapse. The 7,038 Americans of our armed forces who have been killed in Iraq, Afghanistan, and surrounding areas to date. And the 608,495 Americans who've lost their lives to the coronavirus. And linking their names and names whose yortzites we mark on the Shabbat, those anniversary of passing we lovingly commemorate: Morris Becker, Lena Beckerman, Barbara Bachoff, Harry Bussell, Leon Kogan, Bessie Cohen Gilman, Cece Cowper, Jack Diamond, Eleanor Golick, Sidney Geller, Rose Grossman, Bernice Hollander, Samuel Hollander, Diane Hosman, James Ingalls, Ted Kazander, Israel Kaplansky, Irving Cleef, Diane Krosnick, Samuel Ledger, Frida Linden, Jack Malamud, Edith Moss, Nettie Moore, Lillian Newell, Toiva Rival, Bertha Rosenfeld, Louis Seidman, Milton D. Smith, Diane Stahl, Martin Craig Weinstein, Tim Wright, Ben Yellen, Henry Zicholtz, Joseph Zumberg. And linking their names with all the names that we do not recite on the Shabbat, those of every faith and family, those whose lives have touched ours, as well as those who have no one to stand and say Kaddish for them. So do we turn to page 46 in our prayer books and join together in the immortal words of the mourner's Kaddish. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah, Bi'alma divra chirete v'yalmich malchute, B'chayechon uvyomechon uchaye techol Beit Yisrael, Bagala uvizman kari v'imru Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam amei amaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh, V'yitnadar v'yitnaleh v'yitnalal, Shemei t'kudusha b'richu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'nechemata, Da'miram Biama V'imru. Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya. V'chaim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru. Amen. V'seh Shalom B'mromav. Hu Ya'aseh Shalom. Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru.
Amen.
May source of peace and peace to those who mourn. Comfort to those who are bereaved here and everywhere. And let us all say, Amen.
Oseh Shalom Bimromav. Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Ve'imru Ve'imru. Amen. Oseh Shalom Bimromav. Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Ve'imru Ve'imru. Amen. Ya'aseh Shalom, Ya'aseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh Shalom, Ya'aseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh Shalom, Ya'aseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh Shalom, Ya'aseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh Shalom, Ya'aseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael.
Good Shabbos, everyone. Checking for a Tish question there. It's coming in on the waves. Online. Not going to say who won. It's not a competition. We're all winners at Temple Shir Shalom. Yes. Matthew sounded beautiful tonight, didn't he? Yeah.
Thank you.
What's that? Booking for the holidays. He's got multiple gigs, but we like when Matthew sings here, and is always welcome. And Matthew really sounded beautiful tonight. It was nice having the opportunity to do services together, and you'll be with us next week too.
Yep.
Yes? Yeah. So next Friday night as well. So I expect to see all of you again. If you like that, come on.
All 120.
That's right. Any other questions or thoughts? Just gonna make sure. Yeah. It's a whole new level of rabbinics. Matt, you got some compliments online too, by the way, you should know. So Flo Paterni's giving lots of love. So it's all good. Oh, wait. Shout outs from Orlando. Yes. God, it's always good, Aaron, when you're at services. Always appreciate it. I know, Meredith, you're here too, so appreciate both being here together. Yes. So, yeah, Sally's comment was how good it's been to have all of our services online, because when we couldn't be here, weren't allowed to be here, or her children out of town who live out of town, but to be able to honor her husband of blessed memory, Jim, and to be able to be together, remotely in that way. And that's why we've made a commitment that even when we can be together, physically, that we're going to continue online services, promote them that way. We're actually upgrading our online system too. So we did some work last year in preparation for the holidays. We're doing a lot more work improving our sound system and our cameras and our lights in here. That will be done before the holidays. Can I do that? So actually, my professor of blessed memory, Dr. Jacob Rader Marcus, is knocking wood was the wood of the Ark of the Covenant, where the Ten Commandments were held. And so that predates the cross, so ours was first. What's that? What did Daniel say? The cross? Yeah, well, Daniel was wrong. So whoever gets the last word, right? He's probably watching. I'm going to hear about it tonight. Oh, no. So, yeah, Cheryl. Oh, Arthur had a question. In what's that? How did I do service in 2 states? Oh, I do it. Yeah, I've been multiple. Yeah, I've had Shabbat. I've had 3 services now. Did them, and I helped lead services for Elon University's Hillel because they were rabbi-less for a little bit of time, and so they asked me to help out. And so my son Nathan, he was there at Elon Hillel, and I was here, and we were able to do services together with some of the other student leaders, which was fun. And then that was at 5:30. At 6:30, we were doing our services this way, and at 7:30, we had a bat mitzvah that night. Poof, man. How many times can I say Shabbat one day, right? Can't say it too many times. Well, we give thanks for the sweetness of our time together, the joy of Shabbat, as we rise together for the blessing over the wine.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Amen. It's a pretty white.
Yeah, right? Few announcements. Next, Tea, Torah, and Talking, Torrent, right, is this Thursday at 3 p.m. With us rabbis. It's just an opportunity to gather together and to schmooze a little bit, have a little nosh, do a little learning, and be here at Temple. And so it's 3 in the afternoon on Thursday. Trying to think. I think there's some other things I'm supposed to announce as well. There is Tish tomorrow morning. So Tish is at 9:15, 9:30, but 9 o'clock minyan in the summertime here in the sanctuary. A quick 20-minute minyan. Beat the crowd. So Ralph, so and at 9, yeah, we'll join together for that. 9:30 so come and join that too. Well, who's in the lottery today as we sing together?
Are you
guys having dinner together?
We
Just tell me
give
you are, and
thanks
then you
to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Look at that. Do you guys like challah? Yeah, you challah lottery. Because it's a pandemic, we can't share it. We pass it, so it's all yours. I'll get you a bag for it too. You can hold on to it. I'll get you a bag afterwards. It's yours. And, as guests, you get to. Elisa and Ben, you're so excited. You're like, hey, win the Howl. We call it the Howl Lottery. I just made that up. Service Under the Stars is August 20th, right? Not so far away. And there'll be a lovely dinner before that as well. You can't make it. But if you're watching, right, we'll still do it live. And I'm trying to think what else I wanted to share. High Holiday will be, as of today, and we all know we've learned, but as of today, our High Holidays will be here in the sanctuary. And we will be able to join together and pray together and be a congregation. We realize that some will opt not to be, and that's why we'll have everything promoted online. Our family services will be outdoors, and those will be at West Bloomfield High School in the football field. And so, and be able to use that because our kids aren't vaccinated, obviously. And so we're very fortunate that our congregation, our community is taken very seriously. And everyone we've talked to, 99+% of the congregation is vaccinated. So we give thanks for our time together, the joy we have together, as we ask for God's blessing now.
Adonai ve'yishmerecha.
May God bless you. May God protect you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yikuneka.
May God's light shine upon you and shine through you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May God always be a part of who we are, as individuals, as a community, giving us all of our blessings, giving us nachas from kinder, joy from one another as a community, giving us parnasa, success in everything we're able to touch and do, giving us gezint, health, and most of all, shalom, peace in our heart and our mind, and helping us bring more peace into our world. Together we say amen.
V'yasem lecha shalom.
Good Shabbos, everyone. Thanks again.
Absolutely.
That was nice.
Anytime. How you been? Same old, same old?